Welcome to CAS 133, Basic Computer Skills, Microsoft Office. Columbia Gorge Community College, The Dalles, Oregon. Linda Hughitt, instructor. This week we're going to be looking at week 5 and what you need to do for your assignments during the 5th week of the term. Again, as you see, there's some materials here that you can look at. This one has to have the checkbox added. Those are materials that you can put checkboxes by if you use them. They're extra support material, including the textbook PowerPoint that's sort of a rehash of some of the textbook information, but maybe without the direction details. So use it however you find it best helpful. You have your goals, your summary, direction summary, and then your regular summary of what you need to complete during the week. You're going to be completing the learning project, which is the textbook business letter from your book. We'll be walking through that in a minute. You're going to be looking at the application project again as well. And you're going to be doing your reflection, your 3, 2, 1. 3 things that you learned, 2 things that you're still thinking about, wondering about, or have questions about, and 1 thing that you think you can apply or use in your life or can see the use in the future. You have your forum and your reply to another student in the forum for full credit, as well as your extra credit upload link if you're going to do the extra credit for this week. Remember, if you've already done a Word project extra credit, not to do another one. You only get credit for 1 extra credit from the Word family. So let's go to our textbook. If you get your textbook out, please. And we'll start on WD 138, which is the beginning of creating a business letter with a letterhead and a table. The nice thing about this particular one, it was created for a college class somewhere else, but it does talk about creating a letterhead, saving it as a template, and then using it to create a letter. So it has some good things in it you may find useful, especially if this is kind of a new concept to you. So looking on WD 139, you'll see this completed letter. You'll notice the color is kind of a greenish, unusual kind of green, so it's going to have to give you directions to find that color. You'll notice that the top has a banner, it has a font, it has 2 pictures on the side, it has words in underneath, and those words are centered. It has a line, it has a date, it has the heading, which is the inside address there. Salutation, dear Mr. and Mrs. type of thing. In this case, it's Dear Miss Song. It has the letter part, it has the table being put in exactly like that and centered. As you requested, below is my availability by day, and then you have the bullets, and then it finishes up, and it has the sincerely and the signature. Now, if you are one of these people that uses a space bar to do everything, bump, 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 there, that looks about right. Please do not, because I will be turning on the feature that allows me to see your formatting, and you're supposed to be setting tabs and margins and all sorts of, indents and things like that throughout the process, not going bump, bump, bump on your space bar, which will obviously be scored down. Now, once you create the top, basically the letterhead, you're going to save that. Then you're going to open that letterhead again, and you're going to save it again as the letter with the actual body of the letter. Now, for our class, you will only be uploading the final letter. But if you think about using your letterhead with your letter on it without saving it, that means the next time you want to use that letterhead in the real world, you would be having to erase the old letter off of it. That's why in the video they talk about saving it as a template. So kind of walking you on through this, it's got you creating the letterhead to start with and going through and doing the colors and the fonts. And make sure that as you're setting things up, you're taking time to read every single direction. Because if you haven't set things like themes or styles or some of those types of things, what you're going to have happen is you're not going to find the correct colors, or you're not going to find the correct fonts. So you need to be really careful step by step as you go through. If you are trying to use a different version of Word than the 2013 or the 365, remember back in week 3, there is a version form. That version form needs to be filled out in a thoughtful and complete manner, like, why did you do this? Don't tell me you did this because it was Office 2010 instead of 2013. I want to be told something more along the lines, well, I chose this green color because it was the closest match to the green color in the textbook that was available. Okay. And if it's green in the textbook, yours should definitely be a very similar type of green. There's not that huge of difference. It shouldn't come in purple or pink or orange or red if this one was a green. It shouldn't also come in shocking green if this was that kind of subtle, light, almost transparent green. So you're going to want to make sure you're really careful that you get that same kind of transparency on it. So continuing walking through, it talks about text wrapping. It talks about, getting the right colors. It talks about adding shapes. It talks about getting your clip art in and finding your clip art, and then what you're going to have to do with that clip art to make it look like it did in that front picture. It's going to have you change the color of the graphics, and even if you're in a slightly different color theme, you still need to go through that color changing process of your graphic and get it so it's matching and very, very similar to the front. Don't give me that bright colored stack of books with the red, orange, and blue book in with whatever it is you're doing and write to me that it's because you're using 2010, because I know very well that 2010 will let you do this color changing as well. So you're walking all the way through this. You're making sure you're doing each step. You're copying things. You're saving things. You're saving the project to start with early, and you're using a Control S every time something goes right. And before you try your next big thing, I would suggest you save it, because if it goes wrong, then you're just going to reach up, click the red X, exit out without saving it, open it up, and try again. Trying again is a fine thing. And even as much as I do this, I've been known to have to try again. So it's okay. So you're going to keep walking through this. It is going to have you convert a hyperlink, the one that you can click on and it goes someplace, to regular text. And that's an important thing to take care of doing. It's got you setting some custom tabs, a really useful thing to learn to do in the real world. So it's going to continue to kind of walk you through and add text to the letter now that you've got the header done, or not header, letterhead done. It's got you doing a table, and again, you need to be applying that table that matches. And if you, again, are using a different version of it, you're going to apply the table that matches the style that you're using that is in the same type of table style. It shouldn't be coming out looking like a different table style, like with, big bold boxes or some other strange thing going on. And as you work your way through, you're going to have to insert rows, you're going to have to change fonts, you're going to have to split cells. There's all sorts of really minute details that you're going to need to be working through. When you get to the WD86 and you get down to the bottom, it talks about printing, which you will only do for your own benefit if you want to or need to. You're not doing it for the class. Then it talks about addressing and printing envelopes and mailing labels. Wouldn't it be sweet if you could just actually make the label that goes with the letter? It addresses the envelope, it adds it to the top of the letter, and when you go to print the letter the next time, here's your envelope already pre-set up and ready to go. Very, very handy. So if you would like to earn some extra credit, you can create this letter by continuing on 186 to 187. And you're going to address that envelope. You're going to continue putting it kind of like all together, following it very carefully, step by step. It does mention type a return address as shown. And a lot of students don't do that. They just give me an envelope without a return address. Hopefully you don't do that in real life, because if you do, you're going to lose more mail than anybody else. When something goes wrong and it doesn't go to the right place, it won't come back to you either. In this case, you do not get full extra credit if you do not do a return address. So I do suggest you do the return address. You could just use their business address. You have it right there on the letter. It wouldn't be that much to put it in the return address. And then it kind of talks you around to the chapter summary there. And you can complete the chapter summary, use it for whatever, for looking up references at some future date. Then it takes you back into the yellow pages again, as we do each time. If you're going to do one of the extra credits, you need to be in the lab. And so you have in the labs, and there's 2 or 3 of them each time, so you can decide if you want to do that or not. And what you're going to be actually looking at for your application project is going to be the Consider This Your Turn. So you have a chance to design and create an admissions acceptance letter. You have the chance to create and design a confirmation letter. And you have a research and create a letter to a potential employer. And again, that's the one that sounds a little bit like you're going to be hanging out with the team and dividing this up, but you are the team. You are the team of one. You're doing all parts and processes if that is the one you choose to complete for this part of the assignment. Hope that helps you get through week 5. If you have any questions, send me an email, please.